this chit chat. Grab your popcorn, sit tight, we're ready to roll. In the heart of Sacktown, we're feeding your soul. In the King's Court, the vibe's electric. If you don't like that, we're here to correct it. With the best in the game, we're raising the bar. From the hardwood to the airways, we're the King's shining star. With the NFL, Adams in the ring. Rhino's got the wisdom, hear the praises we sing. Court in session, it's a royal affair. With the fans all around, feel the passion in the air. In the King's Court, the vibe's electric. If you don't like that, we're here to correct it. With the best in the game, we're raising the bar. From the hardwood to the airways, we're the King's shining star.
Every team really.
You know what it is. You know what it is. It is Jerry Reynolds Tuesday. Welcome in, everybody. Tuesday, August 12th, 2025. Court is
Order in the court.
Officially in session. How's everybody doing today? Anything notable that I need to know about? Anybody else wind up in, if you don't like that, jail? We're looking for some updates to see who was down there with Dennis during his hard time. You know, hard time down there, according to Dennis. But no, in all reality, I am so excited about what is next for this channel. I'm so excited about our next venture, which Grant announced last week. Again, if you've been living under a rock, Grant is back. Fox Sports Sacramento, 104.7 FM, 890 AM, 3 to 6 p.m. weekdays. We've got that coming up, and it's coming up fast. September 2nd, first show that we will be on Fox. Grant will be on Fox. I will be joining him as his producer, which has brought up a lot of questions about this show in this forum. I can assure you, post-game, half-times, some half times, depending on the game and the game time, those are still here. We're still going to have them on this channel, and we're going to make them bigger, better than they have been in the past. Y'all know that we make each year a little bit better with the program, with what we bring into it. I'm going to be credentialed with the Kings, so I might be doing post-game from the arena. You'll be getting a lot of audio from players in practice that, you know, the questions, right, that sometimes we want answers to. Yeah, I'll walk that line, but I'm going to ask them. I'm going to ask them what this fan base is thinking, what we're seeing, what we're hearing. But as for the King's Court, obviously I'm not going to go against Grant. And how could I go against Grant? I'm producing over there at Fox, which means we're going to be winding down the daily live shows here. So the daily live shows are going to kind of sunset. I am promising you this. You will get regular King's Court podcasts, daily King's Court podcasts on Apple and Spotify. So make sure that you are subscribed to those, the King's Court with Rhino. But I am also promising you I will get in a King's Court live show at least once a week. If we can do it more than that, we will. So it's going to sunset. It's not going to go away. And I know the excitement about Grant, you're going to be getting a whole different dose of radio here in Sacramento, quite frankly, that you've not had since Grant has left. So what's that mean for Jerry Reynolds
Every
Tuesdays?
team really needs what I call a shitbird.
In the off season, Jerry joins us long format for an hour, 4:00. We get him every Tuesday. I don't know because of the schedule. I don't know. Things are in flux. We are having meetings. There's going to be no King's Court tomorrow because I will be at Fox Studios doing some meetings there. So I don't know. This might be the last Jerry Reynolds off-season Tuesday on this show. Think about that. We have had some incredible moments with Jerry. Part of the reason Jerry loves coming on this show is because it's not as formal, right? It's not uptight. We can laugh, we can tell stories. You don't have to worry about your language for the most part. You know what I mean by that. If Jerry Reynolds wants to say he almost shoved a 2-iron up somebody's ass, he is free to say whatever the heck he wants on this channel, which was hilarious last week, by the way. You can catch the replay if you want on the YouTube channel. Subscribe there. If you don't mind, give us a thumbs up as well. So Jerry loves coming on with all of you, taking your questions. So here's what we're going to do today for Jerry Reynolds Tuesday. When Jerry comes on, I'm going to put the QR code on the screen with Jerry. And I want to include you in the conversation beyond the chat. If you would like to call and be on screen or call and talk to Jerry, I want to make that happen for you today. Now, it's not going to be you're coming on to co-host with us. I don't want 10-minute calls because I want everybody to have a chance to possibly get in, but I am going to open that up. I will put the link also in the chat. In fact, the link is in the chat right now. It's pinned to the top. If you would like to call now or call while Jerry is on, because this might be our last one. This might be. Maybe we'll get one more, but as of today, this might be the last Jerry Reynolds Tuesday. So as we know it, doesn't mean Jerry Reynolds is going away. I can promise you that. But yeah, we're so excited. I can't tell you the things I can't. I wish I could tell you the things that we have in the works for the show launching September 2nd. Let me tell you, you're going to be excited. It's going to be the same Grant Napier show that you know, but we are going to add some fun twists. And obviously, phone calls, heavy phone calls. We want to hear from all of you, which is great for me now that I have been with Grant. I've had my show here September of 2024, and I've really met a lot of you through this show. I know you. So when you're calling, I understand who you are. You know, it's a big kind of if you don't like that family. Some of you, like if it's Dennis calling in, I'm going to be like, okay, I might need to have my finger on the dump button. I just might. If it's Finchy calling in, I know we're going to be talking some grilling, maybe some Cowboys. Finchy, we got some Cowboys for you today, by the way. But it's going to be cool. It's going to be fun. So we are on the march down to September 2nd when the show launches. But before then, we are still hitting you with a ton of content here on the channel. Grant back tonight at 7 o'clock. Make sure you join him. Caught a little bit of his show last night. Am I mistaken? I think he said he's a fan of preseason football. I don't remember. Did he? Help me out there. So anyways, more of the NBA schedule leaking out. We got a new graphic for you right here. Some more games. We talked about most of those yesterday. The San Antonio game was one that was not previously reported. The schedule is going to be formally released on Thursday. I told you it would be late this week or next week. I was thinking it'd be next week, but as the leaks kept coming, it's like, all right, it'll be here. It usually happens on a Thursday. So a couple days from now, Thursday, you will have the full schedule. I'm going to talk to Jerry about that. I mean, Jerry says every team plays 41 at home, 41 on the road. But I'm curious how Jerry Reynolds reads a schedule when it comes out. Like, what are the things he is immediately looking at? So we'll talk to him about that. If you weren't with us yesterday, we heard from Domas for the first time in the off season, really in a good mood and looks lean. Domas looks like he is leaned out. I saw some more video of him at the gym, and it's an interesting way that he's transforming his body. Remember, he had like I don't think he had any body fat, and he just finds a way to keep getting better. He does, whether it's the game, whether it's his body. You know, like last year in the offseason, he was not heavy whatsoever, but he's like, how can I optimize my system and he took a test. Like, he took one of those broad food tests for allergies, and he found out that certain foods did not work for him. So he cut those out. I believe pasta was one of them, if I'm not mistaken. So that's what he did last offseason. Now look at him this offseason. Here was one of the comments that he had to say yesterday.
Very happy for him. He was in there with me those 3 summers every day in the gym, so I've seen how hard he works every day, and for him to have this opportunity, the fans love him. He's one of us here, so I think it's going to be very exciting. Doug's working hard on the new system, how he wants to play us, and he's going to translate it through the training camp. And so far all summer we've been getting little bits and pieces of that new offense. So hopefully when training camp comes, it's just smooth and we're ready to go.
Training camp's going to be here before you know it. Remember, Domas said it was the hardest season of his career. DeMar DeRozan said the exact same thing. Craziest season of his career. Domas wanted a point guard. There is a point guard on the roster now, a true point guard. But Domas was asked about Scott Perry, what he thinks about Scott's job, what he's done so far. Here's what he had to say.
They listen to us, they want to hear what we think. I think Scott's done a great job so far, and he's trying to turn things around just like everyone else. I think we think alike, and we both want to get this thing running in the right direction, and his values are aligned with mine. Scott's coming in here and trying to change things around, in the right direction. I feel like what the fans want, what the fans believe in, and to come out, play hard, run, be a gritty team, and so far we're making the right moves. Everyone's working hard in summer, and it's gonna all come down to training camp and get together and make it work.
Very complimentary, as I have been since the first night of the NBA draft of Scott Perry. The timing of, and we talked about it yesterday, Doug McDermott, a little bit curious, feels like you could have done that later. And then the money that you're paying Dennis Schroeder, I was kind of on the fence there, because could Dennis, although being paid $17.2 million, get less minutes than maybe a Keon Ellis? It's possible. You don't know what Keon's going to look like coming into training camp, whether those handles have improved, whatnot. But I agree. And did you hear what he said at the beginning of that? They've been listening to us. That goes for something. Think about last year, the entire turmoil about, well, we don't know who's running stuff. We don't know who to go to. We don't know who's in cahoots. All that behind the scenes. Domas saying he wasn't being advised on certain moves, media reporting differently on Fox. It seems like at least there's a clearer line of communication there, which can only help things. And I got to be honest, for me personally, this has been a much quieter offseason than last offseason when it comes to Vivek's involvement. So maybe he's focused on baseball side of things. Maybe he's letting Scott cook a little bit, whatever it may be. Good to hear that from Domantas Sabonis. That's something he did not have to throw in, but he did. Richard, if the Kings do not do anything, are you happy with who we have going forward? I'm happy with certain pieces that you have going forward. Like, if the Kings were a buffet, like we've put it into food terms, like in the last 6 months. If the Kings were like a casino buffet, a really expensive, good buffet, they would be like, oh, there's prime rib over there. There's filet mignon over there. There's crab legs over there. Give me another like really nice main dish, beef Wellington over there. You have all these like main ingredients, and then you don't have any sides. It's like, well, where's the mashed potatoes? Wait, there's no green beans with ginger and garlic. John Finch throwing his plate because he can't find asparagus, And so I guess I would like to see more balance, Richard. I would like to see guys being able to get closer to playing in their natural positions. So because of that, I can't say I'm happy with the team as a whole. But training camp is not started. Moves can still be made. And I've been saying it now for a couple weeks that I think Richard, maybe you asked me yesterday about Russell Westbrook. That domino, that's a secondary domino. And by the way, there's no guarantee it would actually happen. But everything I've heard is there's got to be another move before you would be able to sign Russ. And that's just because you have so many guards right now. Tristan, sunsets. I like it. But you're going to have more of a reason to download the King's Court audio because you're going to have direct information from me. You're going to have questions from me. You're going to have sit downs from me with some of the players, with Scott Perry. You know, as much as I am able to get access, you will have that there. So although we won't be live, we'll still be getting content in. And I know how much the chat, that's the big deal. Y'all want the chat. I'm trying, I'm thinking, I'm trying to figure out how we can work that wrinkle in. But yeah, so no more wrestling on Fridays. No, but Adam and I are going to do a separate wrestling venture. So you won't have to worry about that. No more shitbirds. No, well,
Every team really needs what I call a shitbird.
no, you all are still the shitbirds will be around. They just have to download the show. Basically, the shitbirds are not going to be able to dominate the content. They're not going to be able to hijack the show. That's kind of what it is. But I might add in a voicemail line where you all can call, you can text. So that will be included in the next day's show. So we've got a lot working. As we get closer to the second, I'll be able to tell you more. And we definitely want to try to do a get together. All right. So what's up, Paul? DM me. You can be my source. Dennis, I am not going to be your source, my bro. Not a chance, dude. No. Dennis. You know what? I've been working towards getting a credential and getting into radio. And daggone it. Now that I've made it, I'm going to share that credential with Dennis. Of course. Dennis, you know what? First time I hear something, it's coming back to you, dude. And you can even put your name on it, Dennis. Yeah, that's what I'm Dennis.
Every team really needs what I call a shitbird.
Oh my gosh. Patrick, no more off the clock text. That's okay. How you doing, bud? I'm doing good. Doing well. Doing very well. Dennis, man, always hijacking shows. Always. Peter, question. If we call into the program at Fox Sports Sacramento, can we request you by name? Is that disrespectful to Grant? Will you be too busy with producing responsibilities? Better to call later. Unknown yet, Peter. I would guess all calls will be for Grant if you want it. Too early to speak on it because I am going to be an on-air contributor. I can't tell you. We have some ideas of what we want to do, but I can't tell you exactly how that will work. Probably yes, I would say it would be disrespectful early on. That would just be my gut reaction. But you know, I'm still accessible. You don't have to call there to talk to me. I mean, most of you that hit me up on X, hit my DMs. Dennis, you are about a quarter of a second from being muted, by the way, on my DMs. I can't, like, as soon as I sit down, Dennis sending me things that I've already read. Dennis, you know, I'm up at during the basketball season, I'm up at 3:30 in the morning, my man, grinding, getting my stuff out before any local show starts. So it can't be influenced or nobody can say that I took anyone's take. Come on, man. Freaking Dennis. I respect the hardcore nature of your fandom, man. But Dennis, man, you need to take a breather. When was the last time you took a vacation, Dennis? When was the last time you put that cell phone down? I don't want you to take a vacation from being a part of the show, but put the cell phone down, man. Arvin, will Grant's rant be coming back to the radio show? Of course. That will I can promise you that will be a part of the radio show. That much I can tell you. So, I apologize in advance that we're going to go here again. That I'm going to hit you over the head with some more.
We're in California. San Francisco 49er gold rush. There was more value than hitting that gold strike in San Francisco in this field today out here.
You know what I was thinking? I'm like, man, Netflix is on a roll right now. They release quarterback, then they release WWE Unreal, then they release the SEC program. They are on a freaking roll. You know what? It would be a Mount Rushmore of sports content only if they released a Jerry Jones documentary. That's what was missing in my life. I need a Jerry Jones documentary. America's team. The Cowboys you know. The truth you don't. What do we don't know? That the old man's senile? That he's a micromanager? That it's team nepotism? You know, one of my favorite things is the Cowboys feel like they're entitled to wear their white jerseys every game. You can tell they always want to wear their white jerseys. I love when teams make them wear their blue jerseys. You know that just makes their blood boil. But anyways, not only is this thing rolling out on August 19th, but Jerry had a premiere last night. Yes, a premiere. He was joined by Michael Irvin at the premiere, and Michael Irvin did not pull any punches. Jerry is standing right next to him. And here's what Michael Irvin had to say. Incredible audio. Just incredible. And of course, it's not in the right spot. Let me get to it. Oh, poor. Come on, man. Here's Michael Irvin.
I would appreciate it more if he just get the Michael Parsons deal done. That's what I told him over here. I told everybody I appreciate Jerry more if he gets Michael Parsons deal done.
Would it be a bigger risk to pay or trade Michael? You talk about risk, you know about risk as far as it is today.
Everything's a risk, Jerry says. Again, everything is a risk. Does it feel like Jerry is dragging this out for more attention? I wouldn't put it past him. I really wouldn't. I mean, he's in Los Angeles.
It isn't on my schedule.
And it's not on his schedule.
Los Angeles.
Los Angeles. How can I get the most run for my Netflix documentary? What do I got to do? Jerry, you know what else is a risk? Anytime a live mic gets put in front of your mouth.
Everybody involved. For me, it's a reminder. I too have been here 23 years. And it is a reminder. I've been here when it was glory hole days, and I've been here when it wasn't. And so having said that, I want me some glory hole.
See, you just can't do it. Like, he doesn't know that people are laughing at him. He thinks they're laughing with him. That's what's so sad. Like, at what point does somebody step in? I mean, Jerry has fumbled this Micah Parsons situation so horribly that there's reports out there it's going to cost the Cowboys up to $100 million. Let me repeat that. $100 million. ESPN earlier today with the latest on what the contract status looks like for good old Micah Parsons. Where are all my cuts today? They just got moved around. There's that one. Here we go. ESPN earlier. Dan Graziano. My stuff's disappearing. What the heck? Live TV? Here we go. Dan Graziano for you. Come on, MacBook. Don't do this.
It's a tricky contract situation that's been made trickier by the fact that it seems to have gotten somewhat personal with Jerry Jones, taking it the wrong way, that he thought he had a deal done in March with Micah, then finds out he didn't. So it's gotten to an ugly point. As I understand it, Jerry Jones still dug in. He knows he has the franchise tag available to him for 2026 and 2027. He has let Micah Parsons and his agent know that. So I think there's some hope in the organization that things mellow out a little bit and maybe a deal can be reached before the season starts. But if not, then I think Jerry's prepared to call Micah's bluff and see if he's willing to actually sit out games.
Why? That's just what I don't understand. So we can talk more about Jera. I heard the Seahawks, some of their broadcasters, kicking the can around about what it might take to get Micah Parsons. He's under contract for this year. So how much are you realistically willing to give up without some type of commitment from him? Dennis, what Jerry Reynolds say about King's patience in trade talks for Jonathan Kuminga and how does their new GM, Scott Perry's approach, differ from past regimes in balancing urgency with discipline? Dennis?
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to
it. Dennis, man. I get what you're trying to get to, but that was just a heck of a word salad. And I have been eating a lot of salad lately, been making caprese salads. So I know a good salad. That was a good one. Peter, yeah, Jerry and Jerry on the same day. Baki, Tadora, what's up, Tadora? Holy moly, Jim Bob Boley. What's going on? How you doing today? Thanks for being here. Thought Haunted Horse stole you. Both, you and Baki. Love it. Baki in the house. Could the NBA's gambling crackdown? Oh, we got another one. Create a buyer's market for players like Malik Monk. Oh man, you're going, Dennis, man. You're going deep. Holy moly. Dennis. Time out. Anyways, Jerry Reynolds joining us here in just about 30 minutes. If you weren't with us at the top of the show, this might be our last Jerry Reynolds Tuesday in this format. I can't promise there's going to be another one next week. So I'm going to open up the phone lines to you to call in if you would like to ask Jerry a question, share a thought with Jerry. Dennis, man, you need it. Dennis, download ChatGPT, put both of those questions into it and ask ChatGPT to condense them, because I don't want to turn those into like 5-minute calls. I want everybody to have a chance, and I want to be respectful with Jerry's time. But he joins us in about 30 minutes. Did Jerry ever smoke ciggies? He's told that story here a million times. He told it last week. So when he worked at I think it was at the golf course. Yeah. Claude Bird. They used to roll their own cigarettes. And Jerry's like, can you roll me one? And he's a teenager. And he goes, yeah, but you're going to smoke the whole thing. And he sat there and made sure Jerry smoked the whole thing. And it stopped Jerry from ever smoking again. Says he had to find a place in the woods to get cozy. Had to get cozy. So everybody remembers the Chappelle Show, right? Arguably, and a lot of the content from that show is not appropriate on this channel. It's surprising how that content, how different things were when that content came out. And it doesn't feel like it was that long ago. What, 2003, 2004? But I bring up the Chappelle Show because somebody did an incredible job. You got to go find the video. I've taken some screenshots of the video, so I will put those up as this plays. But at some point this week, I wanted to get into the Terrell Suggs situation in the Starbucks drive-thru, where he pulls up to the window, not the window, but to order, and then all of a sudden he starts backing his car up, and he hits the person behind him. And before you know it, they're both out of their cars. Everything seems like okay. Terrell's a little bit aggressive. They get back in their cars. He gets his drink, Terrell Suggs. The next guy pulls up. They're still kind of chirping at each other. And then Terrell Suggs pulls a gun out and flashes it out the window at this guy. So instead of getting my take on it, this guy, I don't know who it was, summarized it perfectly. So here is what happened with Terrell Suggs and the drive-thru. Hope you enjoy this.
When keeping it real goes wrong.
Terrell Suggs, NFL legend, 2 Super Bowls, 7 Pro Bowls. But on one sunny Arizona afternoon in March 2024, Terrell was just a man looking for a Starbucks latte.
Just backed into me, man.
This is where it all began. At this moment, Terrell had a choice. He could have taken a deep breath, grabbed his drink, and gone home. But instead, Terrell decided to keep it real.
You can't just back into me to tell me to back up. I can back it up, but don't hit me.
See, in Terrell's mind, this wasn't about coffee anymore. This was about respect. The other driver got out of his car, and Terrell met him halfway. Because when you keep it real, you don't let someone walk up on you without a response. Now, Terrell could have just left, but then came the challenge.
Go ahead and take it. You. 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 Go away. Go away. Go away.
And in the split second between sipping a caramel macchiato and heading home, Terrell brought Starbucks to the OK Corral. Arizona is an open carry state, but open carry doesn't mean open probation free.
Oh, really? That guy just pulled a gun on me. The guy in the line.
When keeping it real goes wrong. That guy knocked it out of the park. That was so well done. That was really well done. What is Terrell Suggs thinking? I mean, he backs into the guy. If you see the video, there's no real reason that he needed to back up. and then you pull a gun. And did you catch the end of that? He said, "I'll kill you," with a gun out. That's actually assault with a deadly weapon. At least here in California, I believe it would be considered assault with a deadly weapon. You see a gun, you hear a threat, and you fear that you might be struck. Hits all of the guidelines there. I mean, incredible football player. We had this conversation about CTE how long ago? Like, situations like this just make me think, like, you're going to pull a gun? The guy didn't even say, what did he mutter? He was telling the Starbucks attendant something. Maybe he said something like, keep driving. But then I'm going to kill you? Okay, open carry laws don't apply to this circumstance, even in Arizona. No, they don't. That's brandishing. That's not open carry. Peter says open carry is a holstered weapon. Right. And he just said the word that I did, brandishing. Over a cup of coffee? Over an iced tea? Over oat milk shaken espresso with brown sugar? Like, what are you doing, man? Doesn't that be one of the more dumb and knucklehead things that I've seen in the media? You know what else is dumb and knuckleheaded that I've seen today too? How about John Mateer? Did you ever heard that name before I just said it? John Mateer. He's set to be Oklahoma's starting quarterback this year. He, on his Venmo accounts, was sending money, and as a joke, for some of the transactions, labeled them, quote, sports gambling, end quote. Sent to a teammate. Third transaction, reference, ultra sports gambling, FIFA World Cup. They surfaced on social media yesterday. Oklahoma officials are investigating, but no NCAA probe has been confirmed of August 12th, 2025. Now, I'm going to meet this kid in the middle really quick. Here's where I'm going to meet this kid in the middle. When we announced that, or Grant announced that the show was coming back, I put out a tweet the next morning saying that I was thrilled to be the producer, yada, yada, yada. And I included the video of Grant announcing it. I also posted it to Instagram, which I don't do a lot with Instagram, to be quite honest with you. And within 24 hours, Dorian, friend of the show, Sac State football player, good dude. He was here yesterday in the chat. Dorian's one of those handful of people that has my cell phone number. And he sent me a text and he's like, dude, you might want to turn this off. And what it was is this new feature on Instagram where if you don't turn it off, anytime you post something, people can see, the people that follow you, they can see your exact location. Not down to the house number, but right where the house would be at with the street names, the street name and the cross street. And I'm like, no way, dude. Like that's no. And I go in and that's exactly what it was. So maybe this kid didn't know that you have to make your stuff on Venmo private. But beyond that, you can't in this day and age say sports gambling. I mean, can we throw that on the list of yelling bomb at the airport. It's just stupid. Even if you're messing around with your friends, like, how is it funny? Like, who's getting over? Why would your friends think that's funny? So now he's gotten himself into some hot water. Sports gambling, the transactions labeled quote unquote sports gambling. One of them also was for the UCLA versus USC game that were sent to an account linked to Richard Roten, believed to be Landon Roten, a former teammate, a third transaction, which we talked about, the FIFA World Cup. Mateer has denied the allegations. And said the Venmo descriptions are inside jokes and that he has, quote, never bet on sports, end quote. He emphasized this to his teammates, coaches, and NCAA officials. Oklahoma issued a statement saying it takes gambling allegations very seriously, but is unaware of any formal NCAA investigation. His Venmo account was made private or deleted shortly after the screenshots went viral. NIL, scholarship, damn, man, not enough. Gotta hit that under on that USC UCLA game. Gotta hit it. Not enough. If I don't hit that, I don't know how I'm going to keep my standard of living. I don't know how I'm still going to be the starting quarterback at Oklahoma. It's silly, and it's getting worse. And here's the other thing to look for as well. What's going to come down first? The NCAA doing an investigation, or is it going to be the conference? Remember the stuff, and it wasn't gambling related, but it was cheating with the University of Michigan, where they were sending somebody out to scout other teams and steal their signals, right? Well, what happened there? The conference brought down a punishment before the NCAA did. And the university honored the punishment. And then what happens like a year and a half later? The NCAA comes down and says Jim Harbaugh, cannot coach for a year. I forget what it was. Something ridiculous. It's like he's already in the NFL. So this is one of those situations that I want to see if the NCAA, A, even gets involved, or B, if it's handled by the conference, and then if the NCAA comes down with punishment, I want to see if it causes more reaction and more pushback that the NCAA is useless. What do you need them for? They are a default property manager. That's what they are. They negotiate the TV deals and they send the money to the schools. That's all they do. Oh, and they spend useless money on stupid investigations, usually. However, this would not be a stupid investigation. I would tell you, you've got to just... Do you know how much training these kids have to go through? These kids have to go through so much. We had to go through a ton of training, mandatory NCAA training, and sports gambling wasn't legal. Like social media, you had to have a university email address to join Facebook. Like it was in its infancy. MySpace was the jam. Tom was everybody's first friend. And we still went through stuff. So now in this day and age to do that, you just can't do that. You just can't do that. If I'm the coach, I'm looking for Terry Tate, office linebacker, to come running through and knock some sense into that kid.
Cover sheet on your
Come
GPS
on.
reports, Richard. That ain't new, baby.
Hey, Terry.
Hey, Janice.
You just can't do it. So we'll see what happens with that. And if Oklahoma handles it internally, do you believe the kid? I don't think you can believe the kid. If you're mentioning a sports event, and I know it wasn't the World Cup, he got that part of it wrong. But if the dates match up to the final of the Gold Cup, it was the Gold Cup. If those dates match up, I mean, I don't know how you're going to dispel that. The kid had no idea that that stuff's public. Did any of you know that your Venmo transactions are public? Damn. Not a good look. You know what I mean? Don't do that. All right, let's get to your comments. Jerry Reynolds coming up in about 13 minutes. I told you I'm going to open up the phones to you. So if you would like to call and ask Jerry a question, this very well could be the last Jerry Reynolds Tuesday in this format. Doesn't mean we might. It doesn't mean we're going to stop doing it, but in this format on the King's Court Live, it might be the last one. So if you want to come in, ask him a question, share a memory with him, whatever it may be, I'll open it up to you. Just try to be brief, try to keep it under 3-4 minutes so everybody can have a chance. But I want to give you that option as well. Because we're all in this together. It's like our conversation. It's not my conversation with Jerry. It's our conversation with Jerry. So T Sizzle, been about that life. Yeah, Arizona State guy. I know that. Look at Adam. Come on. Nobody will ever still us. We know you and where you belong. Interesting. September 2. Upcoming pretty quick for you, Grant, Rhino. It is. Well, here's the thing. This has been in the works for a while. I got to be careful about what I say. Grant laid it out. I'm not saying anything beyond what Grant has already disclosed. So it will be prepared. We will definitely be prepared. No King's Court tomorrow because I'm going to be at Fox, actually at the studio. Andre, the Shohei Ohtani investigations are crazy. I agree. The $240 million real estate deal with Hawaii. Oh, yeah. We didn't even touch that yet. I know. How does Devin Carter have 90 for speed in the new 2K? He's 10th in the game. Wow. I have no idea. What's really quick, Andre, what's De'Aaron Fox? Calling it now. World Cup's going to be a disaster here. Well, it was just about a year ago that we had fans climbing through ducts and bum rushing stadiums for a different tournament. I hope it's not. I hope it'll be all right. I think they'll do it okay. We'll see. I think it'll be all right. So we are just about to have Jerry with us here in 10 minutes. So I'll put the link again in the chat if you would like to call in and ask Jerry a question. If you don't want to call in, put your questions in the chat starting at about 3:55. And I will try to mix in as many of those as I can. Again, Grant is back here in Sacktown. Don't forget, September 2nd, the Grant Napier Show returns to Fox Sports Radio, Sacramento. Super excited. 1470, or excuse me, 104.7 FM. 8:90 a.m. 3 to 6 o'clock, Monday through Friday. Mark it on your calendars. We are coming back, and we are coming back in a strong way. So make sure you join it. Can't wait for the Grant Napier Show to return on September 2nd on Fox Sports Sacramento. Also, make sure that you go follow Fox Sports Sacramento on X. Make sure that you download the Fox Sports Sacramento app, available in both the App Store and Google Play. Make sure you go get those on your phone and get all dialed in. Grant, 7 o'clock tonight, back with you. We'll be talking. Well, I don't know what do you think Grant will talk tonight? Probably some more Micah Parsons. Talk about the show. But maybe the gambling stuff. The gambling conversation is just so ambiguous. It's so we're in the infancy of this. It's not going to get any better. It's going to get worse. It's really just weird. Weird. What's not weird? Getting a damn good meal at Bennett's. Go check out Bennett's, all three of their locations here in the greater Sacramento area. American cooking, prime cuts of seafood and steak. Great thing about Bennett's, the ambiance, I talk about it all the time, the portion sizes that you get, the quality of the food that you get does not break the bank. And not only is that just their regular menu, the specials that they run throughout the week, whether it's Roseville, Howe and Fair Oaks, the West Side Grill in Rockland, you can get happy hour 2 to 6 o'clock every single day of the week, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, prime rib, brunch, 11 to 2 on the weekends. Bottle of champagne, 2 entrees, $45, $45.99. I'm telling you, the first couple weeks of football season, that special is going to get some of you some extra screen time to watch football. The wifey is not, or the husband, the wifey, whatever, whoever's the football fan is not going to want to be parked on the couch watching football all day. Put a bottle of champagne in front of them, the beautiful patio view, and get a great meal at brunch time. I'm telling you, way to do it. But go check out Bennett'sRestaurants.com. You will see all of the different specials, including the new summer Taste of Summer menu that Brian rolled out. So big thanks to Bennett's. Gonna make you hungry here. Sorry. Check them out. Grant and I will be at Bennett's like pretty much every day the week that he gets here. So you'll find us there. 11:30, 12 o'clock, usually about that time. You can catch Jerry and I there maybe once a month. So yeah, go check out Bennett's. Bennett'sRestaurants.com. Big thanks to them for sponsoring today's episode of the King's Court and Jerry Reynolds Tuesday. Well, the man's going to be joining us here in just a few minutes. G or OG. What's up? Is it GG or OG? Absolutely love that Gruden beat the dirtiest professional league on earth, the NFL. Sure hope he can sue them in civil court. Interesting. Was there a ruling that came out? I'm not aware of that. Tedora. Yeah, it's been a minute since Tedora has been in here. What's up, Tedora? They've been hanging out with Haunted Horse too much. Jeff and Butters, the Bulldog. We've got another dog. And he downloaded the app already. Good job. Good job by you. Can you do another grid with Jerry? I don't think I'm going to do another grid today with Jerry. It's kind of beat. I mean, you do that one time, it's really to show off that knowledge. So probably not. Now, if he asks for a grid, maybe I will. Maybe I will do that there. Andre, I'm still looking for, there it is. Fox is 97. Wow. 90 for Devin Carter? With all due respect, he didn't play enough. I mean, 10th quick. I mean, there's a difference between fast and quick, and I don't necessarily think about Devin as fast. It's just me, especially with the handle. Good job again by Jeff. Love it. Absolutely love it. As we go through, what's your favorite Bennett's location and dish? My favorite location is Roseville. I love them all, by the way, but my favorite is Roseville, and just because I've got some special memories there. Grant and I held a function where we raised I think it was like $16,000 for charity, and in turn we got our heads shaved. But my favorite dish, it's got to be. I joke about it all the time. There's three: the New York steak, the prime that comes. You get to pick out your steak. Comes on a butcher's board, freaking incredible. The steak Cobb salad, and then also the redfish. Those are my three go-tos. The short rib is really good. Everything is really good. You can't go wrong on much there at Bennett's. Yeah, the shrimp scampi bomb. So can't go wrong. I'm telling you, the filet bomb, which is on the Monday night special, Wine and Dine Mondays. Yeah. Missed the Gruden news. Yeah, I had not seen anything about that. Yeah, Fair Oaks is money for sure. They allowed Gruden to proceed with his Supreme. Oh, okay. All right. So it's proceeding. He is not actually won. It's interesting. I have not read his complaint. Let's see if I can find anything about that. By the way, Jordan Love gonna have a procedure on his left thumb. Jon Gruden said Tuesday he is eager to discover the truth in a Nevada courtroom about whether Commissioner Roger Goodell and the NFL leaked emails to the media before Gruden was forced to resign as the Raiders head coach in 2021. Okay, so he's in federal court. It's a big difference. He's smart to be in federal court. Gruden said he blames the NFL for leaking the emails, which led the players to pressure the Raiders to force him out when the team was 3-1. Quote, the league's actions disrupted the whole season, end quote. Yeah, sure, Mark Davis had nothing to do with that. Quote, we were leading the division at the time, and they completely blindsided me and the team. I don't remember. I don't think Gruden's contract was voided. Was it? Gruden declined to address his coaching future. Interesting. The NFL's legal position is absurd. You know, that is really an interesting case. And I don't have the details, but I'm going to read up on it because leaking information is not all that unregular. How do you think Shams is breaking these stories? So I wonder if this gets into more of an employment issue. That would be, I've got to think that's the route that he's going. I've got to think that. But enough Jon Gruden. You know what it is? I've told you this might be the last Jerry Reynolds Tuesday in this format. Let's make it a great one. We are always so lucky to have him here during the summers on Tuesday. I'm going to open the phone lines to you. If you want to call in and ask Jerry a question, tell him something, just try to keep it under a couple of minutes. But we are ready and happy to start Jerry Reynolds Tuesday.
It's Jerry Reynolds Tuesday, let the good times roll. King's legend in the house, he's got the game on scroll. With endless coaching wisdom and stories to share. When he talks shit, birds, and Kings basketball, you better be there. Jerry Reynolds Tuesday's the place to be. Basketball magic, it's a sight to see. Chicken and dumplings on his plate. With a side of laughter, it's a perfect fate.
Jerry, what is going on, my friend?
Well, not much, just a nice, peaceful day here in Roseville. Got to walk in early before it got too hot. So just looking forward to talking basketball with you, and obviously just still excited about the news with Grant, yourself. I think it's just great for the Kings fans and sports fans in general.
Thank you. We are very excited as well. And, you've been a big part of what we do. So thank you for helping us along the way and coming on Tuesday. So really appreciate you. And I really appreciate that chair you're sitting in. That looks so comfortable.
It is. That's one of the reasons I've kind of changed my approach. It's like, what the hell? I might as well be really comfortable. And when the lighting's not quite as good, that's okay. I'd rather be dark and comfortable.
Amen. Amen. How long have you had that thing?
I got this. I actually did some commercials for McCreary's Furniture.
Uh-huh.
And part of the deal was they gave me this recliner. And it's been my best friend almost. I take a lot of naps in it for sure. It's so comfortable and big enough to really relax.
Love it. Have you seen what they're doing with recliners these days? They're like attaching fridges to them. They stand you up. They've got USB plugs.
Well,
they're like little spaceships.
I may be heading that way, but I'd like to be able to believe I could still stand up out of my recliner and I could have a drink or something sitting next to me on a table without. I don't know. It's a little scary. It's kind of like cars. I would say I'm maybe one of those people, but I will not talk to my car. I don't care. I'm going to drive it, and it needs to shut up. I don't need to talk to my damn car.
You don't need the instructions.
I do not need the instructions from something I don't know out of my car. And as far as I'm concerned, it's just evil magic. That's all I can think of.
Well, maybe your car would have reminded you that your cell phone was in Tahoe that one time.
Well, now that's a point there. That is a point there. And Mrs. Reynolds is more in tune with being in modern times, and she's pointed those things out. And being the hard-headed and stubborn that person that I am, I say, I don't care. I don't care. Not changing.
Love it. Love it. Jerry with us here on Tuesday. The NBA schedule getting ready to be released on Thursday. I'm just curious. I know you said that every team plays 41 at home and 41 on the road. But when you were in the building, when you were coaching and the schedule came out, how did you read the schedule? What were the first things you were looking for?
Well, I would always, look, the first, say, 5-10 games, usually first 10 games, just to get some idea of how many, because you'd hate to have to play 7 on the road out of your first 10 or something like that, regardless of who you played. So that was it. Then after that, there's so many games, it all takes care of itself. And I've always said, people and coaches complain about the schedule, but the truth is there's 41 at home, 41 on the road. And you have stretches where you have 7-game road stretches and you have 7-game home schedules. And there's times when you're going to play, 3 good teams in a row and maybe 3 bad teams in a row.
Right.
And sometimes you're going to catch teams when they're injured and you're healthy, and sometimes you're going to be injured and they're healthy. And that's so it's 80. What I always said, 82 games. The best teams always seem to win the most games. So it'll usually work itself out.
So I put out a poll earlier today. And I said over under 4.5 nationally televised games for the Kings, not including NBA TV. Most fans, 93% of the fans have said under. Do you think the Kings will have more or less than 4.5 national TV games?
I'd say under.
Under?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, unless the Kings are really good, they're going to find reasons not to put the team on. And there's some markets that even when they're not good, will get games. We know that.
Yeah.
And the LA, New York kind of markets, Chicago, regardless, are going to get extra games. So it's the way it goes. But as we know, back in the early 2000s, the Kings were on all the time because they were really good.
Those were the days, Jerry. We said it last week. They were good in the afternoons too for those ABC games that started early.
Yeah. No, there's no. Well, basketball is great when you're good enough to win them all.
Have you seen with the Arco advantage that the Kings used to have, and part of that's the building, part of that was the product that was on the court. Has there been any moments at the Golden One Center that has given you any of those same vibes since it's opened?
Oh yeah, I thought during the playoffs, and and the Beam team was certainly would measure up. I'd say. I mean, I think the thing that with Golden One, it's so beautiful. I still think the nicest, although I really haven't been down to the Clippers' new place, so that's not fair. And I think that probably is the most special building. But just the way Arco was built, Arco 2, and really the little Arco 1, the fans were so close to the action, and then with wood flooring, the noise level was just simply unmatched. And like I said, I think the '96 Kings playoff team against Seattle in that game in the building was still the loudest and the most, I guess, fan active that I've ever seen.
The fans were in their seats before the Kings even came out, and it was just on their feet the entire warm-up period. I can remember the song.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. Well, I was saying it was interesting. My first year with the Kings as assistant coach, and we made the playoffs. People kind of forget that one, but in that little building, 10,000. Really, most of those home games, like cookouts, and fans would be there. And the fans would be in the seats and packed and cheering when the teams ran on the floor for layup drill. I thought I was back in Indiana high school basketball or something. It was just amazing. And I always remember I working with Bill Russell at the time. He was coaching, and we were getting pummeled by the Milwaukee Bucks, and we was down 30 something about 8 minutes ago in the fourth quarter. And the fans were still, we made a basket, and a couple of straight baskets. The fans really got into the game. And Bill turned to me and said, is it like this? And I said, yeah, Bill, it really is. They think, bless their hearts, they think we're going to come back.
You should ask Bill if he could go into the locker room and change his clothes. Then you would have come back.
Yeah, then maybe. I don't know. But it was, but to your point, yeah, I think Arco, the old Arco 2, was still, I think the just from a viewing standpoint, once you're in your seat, and all those seats might be a little rickety, but once you're in there and the ball goes up, I think that's hard to beat. I think that was really hard to beat, that atmosphere. And Golden One's awfully good, but you had to sacrifice something to have a bigger building.
Yep, spot on. Tay has a question for you. What are the top 5 worst NBA cities for travel?
Okay, that's a great question, Tay. Well, the cities I least like to go to or be in, and I honestly consider myself an expert in this because I had spent 30-some years in most of them at times. So, my least favorite probably is Memphis. I think secondary would be New Orleans. I never really liked New Orleans at all. It's, the Bourbon Street, kind of, yeah. Anyway, so didn't like New Orleans. I'm trying to think because I love Toronto, but I hated going there because just of all the hassles at the airport because of passports and luggage and
Yeah.
and change of planes and or buses and all that sort of thing. So that was such a hassle. Milwaukee, definitely not a favorite. Uh, and I'd say probably then Cleveland would be in there. Cleveland. But in the West, it's Dallas, San Antonio, Houston, no problems. Denver, enjoyed that. Of course, loved Seattle and Vancouver when they were in the league.
Oh yeah.
Oklahoma City was also, I guess, probably in the West is about the I thought maybe I'd put them at the bottom as far as a visit because there's just no downtown. I you know I mean if you got in there, basically 5 o'clock it closed. Nobody lived there.
Yeah.
Even worse than Sacramento.
Yeah. Is there any cities that when you were going to that city, you knew I'm eating at this restaurant you had to go to?
No, not really. I mean, probably other than Indianapolis, there was St. Elmo's and, and then of course, I mean, I know this, you would be surprised, but White Castles, I love White Castles, especially, there in the Midwest where they know how to do them right.
Jerry, I pay for the frozen ones sometimes.
Oh,
That's how much I like them. And I've never had a fresh one.
Yeah, I do too. And I mean, and with, you can buy, and you can make them pretty good, but not like fresh off the griddle,
How many can you take down usually?
Well, I've eaten as many as 8, but that
Okay.
was younger days. But I would like, even say 15 years ago, I'd eat 6. I'd always get 6. And I know fans, if you've never eaten them, they're not very big. They're called sliders for a reason.
Right.
But, delightful.
I might be going to the grocery store after this show. I'm not going to lie to you. Paul, Jerry, would you trade either Monk or Ellis for Kuminga or Westbrook?
Well, I might consider Monk, but I wouldn't even want to. I mean, the problem is, if you could get, Kuminga, like I say, I'm not a huge fan. I think he makes you a little better, but I wouldn't trade Ellis. In my mind, and I wouldn't trade anybody as much as I love Westbrook, but I wouldn't trade anybody for Westbrook. You don't have to. He's a free agent, and you offer him a veteran minimum, and you get him. At this age, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. I personally wish he would retire because I think at this stage of his career, there's nothing to be gained. But he still play. But we got too many guards. So, in my mind, the Kuminga thing, just to put it in my opinion, the only way to make that trade that would help the Sacramento Kings would be if you traded DeRozan and Carter.
Yeah.
I think that balance your guard line out and gives you a bigger front line guy, and they clearly don't want to do that. But I think that would be the trade that benefits the Kings. And I think it certainly could benefit the Warriors as well.
I would agree with that. Did you happen to see the clips of Domantas Sabonis talking yesterday?
I did.
Did he look leaner to you?
I thought he did a little bit, but there's probably not 3% body fat on him ever.
Right.
He has been so chiseled. I don't know that I've seen a big any better conditioned, in Kings history, really. With Domas, I've said many times that I just love watching him. There's guys been more talented than him with the Kings, like Weber or Cousins, but nobody has really worked consistently as hard. That guy, competes every minute he's on the floor, and he's a total team guy and totally unselfish. I think he's a real joy to watch.
I agree with you. If there was one thing that you could guarantee his game would be better at this year, what would you want that one thing to be?
Shoots a 12-footer.
Amen.
Shoots a 12-footer. I mean, it's kind of the shot that he can get and he can make, but it's he's gotten so now he makes the three relatively well. He doesn't take many, but it's a good percentage. But in that area, it seems so often he turns it down either to kick it out for a guy with a worse shot, or he goes into traffic and tries to draw fouls or score. And just, that would be it. I think he has about 3 or 4 of them a game, at least take 2 of them.
I am so with you that just that little bit of hesitation, I would love to see that go away and see him just take that shot, 'cause it forces the defense's hand. Then you got to come out on him.
Yeah, I hope Coach Christie really, calls him out and forces him to do that a little more. I mean, I always say the real weakness, one of the weaknesses of him is that he's always looking for his teammates to a fault, because sometimes he's got the best shot, and it's almost like when he does score, it's almost like he feels guilty.
Yeah, I never thought about it that way. That's a good problem to have with a player sometimes.
It's the best. I mean, it's easier to convince guys to look for their offense a little more than it is to get guys to convince them that they're shooting too much or too selfish. It's a little harder the other way, been my experience.
Yep. Hey, Baki, Tedora, call back. We'll get you on. I'm not sure why you guys dropped. Dennis says, "Hey, Jerry, you know what? Let me abbreviate this. Let me chat RB this for you so you don't have to go through the pain. If you're not able to make a trade, what would be the X factor that you could see making the Kings better on the current roster right now this season?"
Well, I think they really have to get something from their rookies, and I would say there's 2 guys, but there's 2 guys that I think could really surprise, and that'd be Nick Clifford and Isaac Jones. I really think Isaac Jones is ready to have kind of a breakout season, and the Kings would, with the current roster, they would really need him to have at this stage. And the way he played in summer league, I just think that he's a little bit like a different position, obviously, like Keon Ellis. He's one of those kind of diamonds in the rough that I think is just going to continue to get better.
The game doesn't seem too fast for him, and I know you mentioned that you really like his motor, which is a major plus for a player like him.
Oh yeah, I mean, he's just no fear, and he's deceptively big in the sense that he may be only 6'8" or 9, but he's much longer.
Mm-hmm.
And I always said I was like he's one of those guys. He's really got his shoulders are. If you see him standing next to a 6'10" guy, his shoulders are exactly the same place, or a little higher. So his length. He's a bigger guy than because I always say it's length more than anything, and that's why you don't rebound with the top of your head. You rebound with your hands, your length, and which is also why Domas is so amazing, because he's not very long and he's not a quick jumper. He rebounds because he just works harder than everybody.
Yeah, and that's something you cannot teach. You are just wired that way. John Finch wants to know if customs are different in Vancouver versus Toronto. I would think not, but Jerry?
Well, I can't think of any. They're in Vancouver, probably the most beautiful city in North America. Kind of even a prettier version of Seattle. And but yeah, I really, not an expert, but I didn't notice anything. The exchange rates has to be the same and all. I liked Vancouver better than Toronto, and mainly because of weather. It's also got very much Seattle weather.
Mm-hmm.
Toronto is winter. During the winter it's winter. Now, to its credit, I mean, you can go to all kinds of stores and restaurants and stuff and never go outside. They got kind of a tunnel system underneath, much like Minneapolis has that downtown over the top. You can walk all through downtown and never go outside.
That's very true, but it gets really cold there in Minneapolis.
Yeah, it sure does. That's why it's really great. That's why I kind of enjoyed this. I really knew the routes without going outside. And sometimes I just take my daily walks and just walk the city, from building to building to building,
Yeah.
and malls and everything, right, without going outside.
The Mall of America, you could get lost in there, my friend.
Yeah, I did one time. I was there when I was scouting an NCAA event, and stayed out there and went. And it's like, my gosh, it's scary almost. It's so big.
The only bigger mall, and this might not still hold up, but there's one in Edmonton, Canada. It was coined the biggest mall in the world. And I had been to that one. Jerry, it had a water park in it. It was just it was its own little city. It was
little city.
Bungee jumping.
Yeah, it makes sense in areas like that where you really need to get everything done inside.
For sure. Tay wants to know, is Domas a top 5 center after Embiid, Wemby, and Jokic? I wouldn't say Şengün, Holmgren, Adebayo are better than Sabonis. It's a good question.
It is a good question. No, the way Embiid's injuries are, I'd put him above Embiid right now. Now he's, if Embiid's healthy and all that, then he's not. But I think it's there's people that could make the case for Adebayo. I wouldn't say Sinjin yet. I think that he's a couple years away. He's probably a better scorer because he tries to score more. But he's not a better player, and certainly doesn't rebound as well. But he's kind of a young Domas version, I think.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'd put when Domas was a young player. It'd be more like that. Although I think Domas is a better defender and better rebounder. So Adebayo, Vucevic isn't in that category anymore, I don't think. I'll tell you a guy that's underrated, and I'm trying to say, Big Zubats.
Yeah.
Yep. I really think that he really is, he had an all-star level year last year, and I mean, he just keeps getting better.
I would agree with you 100%. I would say watch how Şengün develops now that you have Durant in Houston. I don't know, Jerry, do you think that's going to hurt or help his development?
Well, it could. It could do both. I mean, I do think that he was kind of the focal point of their offense.
Right.
Well, he's not going to be with Durant. And so how he handles it, because Durant's not going to change, and you don't want him to. You're bringing him in there to be a bucket getter, and that's what he's going to do. So, I mean, I think it could make Sinjin a better all-around player. He could, make him more like Domas, really, learn to pass better and be a focal point of the offense, but not so much as a scorer, as a ball mover and things like that. So, and I think that'll be a key for Houston. I really do. I mean, I think that's a great question because that's got to happen. He's got to take a step back offensively for Durant to be as good as they need him to be.
It's an excellent point, and I would also add this for Durant and how good he can be. Certainly a big part of that staying healthy, but Houston has brought in the frontline pieces to say, we're not going to make you guard the best 4 on the floor, the best 5 in the floor. We're going to let you operate offensively, take a second, third guy, and I wonder if that is the formula to keeping him a little bit more healthy.
I think it really helped. I really do. I think it's a great point because they've really got with Thompson and Tari Eason and Jabari Smith. I mean, they've got all kinds of size and guys that can defend. Especially Thompson. He's just he's one of the very best in the league right now.
Yep.
And his weakness is he can't shoot. Well, that'll work perfect for him. I think he'd gladly just guard and score at the basket and try to help Kevin. Yeah, they're going to be a real threat to Oklahoma City. I definitely believe that. I'm not a huge fan Van Vliet, to be honest. I think he's okay. But at this stage, they need somebody. They probably like to have somebody a little better there, but he's good enough. He's played on the champion, but he's not quite the same player, I don't think, anymore. They need Jeff Shepard to step up, for that team and I think he can.
Yep, Reed Shepard.
Reed Shepard. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Think of his dad. Yeah, his dad. Jeff Shepard played in the league a while. Yeah.
See, you know what? Only you can do that because his dad played in the league and you remember his dad playing. That's perfectly acceptable to do.
I scouted his dad in college. Jeez.
That's crazy.
So
that is crazy. Let's bring in Tadora. What's up, Tadora?
Jimba Bully Jr. here.
Wow.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good. You?
I'm pretty good. About as good as I'm going to be, I think.
Okay. What are your expectations? The Kings will be better than the last season or not? But honest answer, please.
Well, I think they're going to be about the same, to be honest. I would like for them to be better, but what we got here? That's cute. But yeah, I think with the current roster, unless moves are made, I think we're going to be about the same. No, I see Baki there.
Baki's there.
How's it going, man? How you doing?
He's hiding.
Is that way? Well, he's looking younger.
I'm off from off season. I'm only active in the regular season, so I'm leaving with Tedora.
Yeah, well, that's good. You want to save your energy for the regular season. Save your energy. I think you're going to need it. I think we're both going to need it.
Yeah. All right, Tadora, give us one more good one for Jerry.
Holy moly, Jimba Bully.
Let's go.
All right.
Good job. Good job.
Oh, she's the best. Holy
love
moly, Jimba Bully.
They are such dedicated fans.
Aren't they amazing?
They're great.
They are just the best. Absolutely the best.
Paul says, thanks, Rhino. Jerry, tell Jerry that the day he came into Sacktown, we received a blessing. Straight up.
Well, I don't know if you did, but I did. I mean, it was a blessing for me to get to come to this wonderful community and area and get to work for the Kings. Well, I always say I really work for the fans. I mean, I know my check wasn't signed by the fans, but that's the way I treated it. I knew whatever job I had, it was about the fans. That's why this team is still here, and it's why the fans deserve a damn sight better product and maybe we've gotten here recently.
I kind of look at it with you during the lean times. You were kind of the Malik Monk, where if things were getting too low, you brought it back up. You're telling jokes, you're having the clever one-liners. Like it made it a little bit more tolerable when it was not good basketball.
Yeah, well, I always felt that start off with it's entertainment. People tune into the TV or in live. They want to see their team win. That's number one, and that entertains them. But if the team's not winning, they still deserve to be entertained and to have a good time. Try to make it, as enjoyable as you can. Sometimes it's almost impossible. I get that, but I sure felt like, just as a fan myself, is that, well, there's always something, that you can watch at part of the game that, if in my case, was doing TV, I might really try to enjoy the other team if they're playing great basketball.
Yeah.
And or if your team is losing, but you've got 2 or 3 guys that are playing really well, they enjoy their effort and skill. So there's always positives you can find. And, so I tried to find them. Sometimes you have to dig pretty damn deep.
Got to get past the clay. Gotta keep digging and digging and digging. Tay asking, is toughness an underrated element of this team? What do you think, Jer?
Well, it is. I think in the game, period. I think some teams just are not only physically a little tougher, but mentally as well. And I think when you look at the championship level teams, clearly they have a lot of talent. You have to have talent, but the mindsets. I think when Oklahoma City is a great example, a recent champion. Well, those guys played hard every night. You get 68 wins, and physically didn't really back off of anybody. Their stars played hard and competed. So yeah, you really have to. You're going to be challenged physically and mentally, and the best rise to the challenge. I guess that's about the best way to put it. And I think through all the years I've watched all the great players and teams, that's absolutely been a consistent pattern. Is they tend to be tougher mentally and physically than the middle of the road or lower level teams, and sometimes the talent level isn't as big a gap as the mental physical gap.
It's an excellent point. In Oklahoma City, think about how long they were playing without Chet when he broke his hip, and they still win that many games.
Yeah, they just plug guys in, and obviously they're not as good without Chet. They couldn't have won a championship without him, but on a regular season, guys, they had some guys. Well, Williams, the other Jalen Williams, didn't play much in the playoffs, but he's a good player.
Yeah.
And without Chet, he got to play, and he was pretty productive. So, that's another key to championship level teams or competitive teams. You have to have, some depth of talent. And I always said I think that's one of the real overlooked things about some of the weaker teams or the bottom feeders that I've seen and been a part of, is that the depth was always the key. You'd always, every team, you always have 3 or 4 really good players, but you need 6 or 7 at least. And then when injuries happen, then you're just, you're crushed if you don't have that, that 6th, 7th, 8th man that's capable of being a starter.
Spot on. And the teams that we're seeing have success, as we're talking about Oklahoma City, it's guys that are on rookie deals that they've developed in-house, that they've been able to draft, and then you're able to have a little bit more flexibility to bring in a Hartenstein because those guys are on fair deals and it's a place somebody wants to play. I want to see this year, Jerry, I want to see just an identity from this team in Sacramento. I always hear that the team takes on the coach's identity usually. I feel like the last 2 years, really the only identity that the Kings had was a negative one, that they can't guard the 3 ball. So I want to see, you always say teams are so much better with character. I want to see them have something.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think that's a real challenge for Coach Christie. And I really believe one of the strengths in going forward is the coaching staff. I've said many times, I honestly have more confidence in Coach Christie than I do in the roster. But as you said, I think that if there is a chance to surprise in the West, and win more games than the experts think, it'll be because they have developed kind of an identity, and maybe a Doug Christie identity, where they're gritty and tough, which he was, and he brought it every night, and knew what his talents were, stayed in his lane, understood all that, and that's kind of what this team needs, and they need to buy in, and if they do, I think they can win a lot more games, and if they don't, then they're going to struggle. That's simple as that.
Yeah, I think one relationship that you are going to see flourish and you are going to see a clear Doug Christie rub off on this player is Neek Clifford. He just seems like all of the elements are there.
Yeah, Neek is a lot like Doug in college. And there again, I saw Doug play a lot in college.
Right.
Now, having said that, I think Neek, body's a little better at the same stage, but Doug would had better handle. I think at that age he had a better handle, but yeah, I think there's a definite correlation there. I mean, Clifford probably has a little more offensive game already than Doug did at that same stage. So. Yeah, and this team, I think there's no doubt that's I think one of the previous questions is this team needs a Nick Clifford to kind of establish for this team to be better than expected. Nick Clifford has to be a better rookie than anybody could have expected.
Bingo. Got to be one of those guys that no matter what it takes, he's got to be on the floor for 20 minutes a night. He has to turn into one of those guys. Jim Garfinkel asked, Jerry, considering what Cam Whitmore brought in trade, do you think the Kings should have looked a little harder at him?
I liked him. I would agree. I think they should have. I really do. I don't know, obviously we're not there and we don't know what calls were made or what was offered or that. But yeah, you make a great point. I thought what he brought in trade would have made him available. And I think he's in my way, maybe a better fit than Kuminga, to be honest.
Wow. Good job. Good job, Jim. Great question. I've always wanted to ask you this, and seeing as this might be our last Tuesday segment together, Grant talks about how blessed he was to grow up around sports and be at Giants and Jets games at 2 years old and Yankees games. What was your first sports memory growing up?
Well, my first big one was I was in the first grade, and my dad took me to a high school basketball game. At that time, the town is called the French Lick Red Devils, and my uncle Richard Morgan was the star of the French Lick Red Devils, and for me, that was it. The pageantry, the packed little gym, how the Hoosiers thing, and they had the nice uniforms, and I thought, man, if I could just ever play for the French Lick Red Devils, I'd be all I'd ever want in life. And of course, by the time I got to high school, they'd consolidated with another little town, and it became the Springs Valley Blackhawks. But yeah, that was my first memory. And then, of course, I fell in love with basketball, and at that time, and really still in love.
What is it? What is it about basketball that drives that love so much?
I think of course, I was lucky to, like I say, grow up in Indiana, where it was a religion almost at that time. I don't think it's the same level anymore, but every little town, that was it. If you didn't go to the basketball games, you might have been considered a communist or something. But yeah, so that, but as a kid, then you started playing, and then just the competitiveness, and it is a team game, and you played offense and defense. A good player has so much impact on winning and losing in basketball, so much more than any other sport. I always said, Mickey Mantle can play center field or Mike Trout or whatever, but they bat 4 times and make a few plays.
Right.
And they can be 4 for 4 and the team loses.
Right.
And even in football, your greatest quarterbacks, they don't play defense.
Was there a light bulb moment or just kind of a page turning that sticks out to you when you realized I understand this game at a different level? There's more nuance that I think I can give to it.
I think honestly, when I was a junior in high school, I guess not say I wasn't second guessing coaches, but I was a little bit. And it's like, well, why don't we try to run the screen roll from the side, not just from the top, or against the zone offense, rather than just passing the ball, why don't we get cutters through there and occupy defenders? I always remember that, because I sat down with the coaches, and and sometimes they would say, "Oh yeah, why don't we do that?" And so I always felt that at that time I was a little ahead of the other guys, which most guys didn't. Yeah, just give me a uniform and tell me what position I play, and that sort of thing.
Very cool. Very cool. I hate that they changed the title of your book. It was Reynolds Remember, and then what did they change it to now?
Yeah, Tales from the Sacramento Kings, which, that same book. I'd really still pissed about that.
So go get Tales from the Sacramento Kings, or try to find an OG copy of Reynolds Remembers. Did you write down notes or diaries along the way?
No, never really did. Probably should. I mean, that's why I think sometimes and my wife has told me where I've heard this same, she says, I've heard this same story about 30 times and it's a little different each time. I say, well, I can't. Sometimes, you forget little segments of it or whatever. But no, that the writing the book was a lot of fun. Don Drysdale, former sports writer, sports with the old Sacramento Union, and really it was a beat writer, and he, we were good friends, which helped, make it a pretty realistic version. I thought. I don't think anybody could have, done as good a job with it. We had some, had a good time with it. That was the only real goal, and we wanted to make a few bucks, and we did a few bucks, but there wasn't. I think the publishing companies made a lot more.
Book game's tough, Jerry. The book game is tough.
Very tough, and unless you're one of those people that they'll give the advance to.
Yeah.
And I think we did get advance, $1,500 or something, but it wasn't like we were in demand, to make a book. But the thing that did amaze me, it was on the top 10 sports books for quite a while, actually. Which I thought it'd be pretty popular, or could be, in our area, but I didn't realize how well it would do nationally, which it did very well nationally.
I think the timing was great, and I think the Kings kind of became America's underdog when you're going up against the Lakers, and you see Game 6 when Mike obviously catches an elbow that now would have been a flagrant.
Yeah. No, we caught it right. I mean, the Sacramento, the team was going down at that time after the big run, about 2005. But everybody was aware of the Sacramento King. Every basketball fan had been through the 4 or 5 years of 50+ wins and all of that. So it was perfect timing.
Indeed. Jerry, I can't thank you enough and if this is our last Tuesday, I'm not sure, we might have one more in us, but I can't thank you enough.
Well, anytime. I really enjoy you and the fans. I mean, the great questions, and just real thrill for me. So if you need me again, you just let me know, and we'll stay in touch, because I'm a fan of you, and I've always been a fan of Grant. You know that.
Yeah.
So if I can help, however many years I got left, I was going to say, like Mr. Reynolds tells me, so I'm pretty sure you got enough bullshit in you last another 2 or 3 years. So,
Jerry, my grandma just celebrated her 100th birthday this weekend, my friend.
I don't know. I don't know if "celebrate's" the right word, but go ahead. We'll see. I might feel differently as we go here.
Yeah, I get it. I hear it. All right, buddy. Have a great rest of the week. Appreciate you.
Take care. Thank you. All
right.
Be good.
The one and only Jerry Reynolds. Great conversation. Incredible conversation. You know what Tay did? Tay got a record today. Tay got this twice.
Ooh, that's a great question.
He got one of those and then another one.
Ooh.
Good job, Tay.
That's a great question.
Now, just because I am in the middle of a really fun conversation that really would not be all that different from what Jerry and I might have off the air, I'm looking at the comments and we're having conversations about Carl's Jr. versus Hardy's. And then I see Yazzer say, "What's going on here?" Patrick, no, we only have Hardy's. Carl's Jr., not nationwide. You guys didn't know that? That's funny. I don't know about all of you, depending on your age, but with the Kings tickets, when you actually had a paper ticket, if they won or if they scored over 100, it might have been one or the other. You would be able to turn your ticket in for a buy one, get one free Western bacon cheeseburger. That's how I got my intro to the Western bacon cheeseburger. I mean, I can't eat it anymore, maybe because I've had it too much. But the barbecue sauce on that burger, that's a good fast food burger. I'm not going to lie. It's not my go-to anymore, but that's a good fast food burger. Yeah. You know, the weirdest thing that they ever did was turned like the restaurant also into a Mexican place. Don't know about that. So good stuff with Jerry. Thank you to Dora for calling in. I don't know if it's the last one or not. We might be able to get one more in, but always incredible and amazing to have Jerry here, and all of you. Thank you very much for joining in, and again, asking some really good questions. You know, Tristan, my bad, dude. Tristan, I didn't get your question in. And believe it or not, Jerry actually looks forward to your questions. So, Tristan, I will ask Jerry offline, and I will send that to you. But I don't know how to send it to you, Tristan. I don't know what your X handle is. I'll get it to you, but I'll ask him. So, all right. Good day. Really good day. So I'm looking through the comments, making sure there isn't anything else we missed. I think we are good. No King's Court tomorrow. No King's Court tomorrow. I will be at the Fox Studios. So we'll be back Thursday, but don't worry, Napes, he will be here tonight, 7 o'clock. Join him. Big thanks to Bennett for sponsoring today's show. Obviously, a massive thank you to Jerry Reynolds. A lot of good nuggets in that conversation. Some really good stuff. Go watch the replay if you missed any part of it. Also, you can download the audio for all of our shows on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You can search The King's Court with Rhino. You can search If You Don't Like That for Grant's shows. Subscribe on YouTube. Would love to have you as part of, I think we're over 8,000 now. Let's get that number up. Let's get the thumbs up. Remember, too, this channel not going anywhere, regardless of the fact that Grant is back starting September 2nd on Fox Sports Radio here in Sacramento, 104.7 FM, 890 AM. He's back September 2nd, and he's back to win, as he was quoted in the Sacramento Bee. Make sure you're all geared up for that. It'll be the day after Labor Day. If you are not here in the market, download the Fox Sports Sacramento app. You can find it in the Apple Store and also in the Google Play Store. We're getting pumped up for that, getting ready for that debut, but we are also going to continue rolling on this channel. We are still going to be doing our post-game shows and bringing you content. So stay tuned for that. Big thanks to everybody for allowing me to come into your offices, your homes, your earbuds, your cars, wherever it might be, to spend a couple hours talking sports and Kings basketball with you. It's a great pleasure. that I do not take for granted whatsoever. Grant, 7 p.m. tonight. Go Kings. Light the beam. Court dismissed.
Order in the court.
Every team really needs what I call a shitbird.